Anxiety and the role of resilience in recovery. Let's talk about something many of us face but often keep hidden. Anxiety. It's more than just feeling nervous before a big event. For some, it's a constant struggle that affects daily life. But here's the uplifting part. This study explored how resilience, the ability to bounce back from challenges, can actually make a real difference in recovering from anxiety. And the results? Pretty powerful. People who scored higher in resilience were not only recovering faster, but also reported feeling more emotionally stable and better equipped to handle stress. Traits like adaptability, staying hopeful, reframing negative thoughts, and regulating emotions were all found to be linked with healthier recovery from anxiety. Even more interesting, support systems like good friends, family, or having access to helpful resources played a big role in boosting this effect. So, resilience isn't just a safety net. It's a kind of emotional engine that helps you move forward during tough times. Isn't it comforting to know that with the right tools and support, anxiety doesn't have to have the final word? Let's keep going. There's more to explore. 2. Theoretical integration and conceptual framework. Now, let's dive into how all this fits into what we already know from psychology. One classic theory that helps explain these findings is the transactional model of stress and coping by Lazarus and Folkman. It says that how we interpret stress and how we react to it shapes our mental health. In this case, resilience seems to help people see stressors as manageable, not overwhelming. That shift in perspective changes everything. Another helpful theory is self-determination theory by Deci and Ryan. According to this, we all need to feel capable, connected, and in control. Resilient people tend to meet these needs. They often have stronger emotional regulation and better relationships, which help them stay steady when anxiety hits. Then there's Fredrickson's broaden and build theory, which shows how positive emotions help us think more clearly and build lasting strengths. Resilience creates space for those positive emotions, even in the middle of anxiety, and that helps people cope more creatively and constructively. So, resilience isn't just about staying strong. It's about building a mindset that transforms stress into growth. Isn't that something worth unpacking further? 3. Comparison with previous research. When we look at other studies, the story gets even more interesting. Research by Bonanno showed that resilience is actually more common than we once believed. A lot of people bounce back from trauma and anxiety without permanent damage. That challenges the older thinking that everyone needs long-term therapy to recover. Tugade and Fredrickson also found that resilient people feel more positive emotions, even during tough times. Those feelings help them cope better and bounce back faster. It's not about avoiding anxiety, but about how you respond to it. Neuroscience adds another layer. Southwick and Charney looked into the brain and found that certain brain systems help people regulate emotions and assess threats. The present study adds depth to that picture, showing not just the biology, but how resilience shows up in real life. So, whether it's through emotions, brain science, or behavior, the message is clear. Resilience is a powerful ally in managing anxiety. Curious how we can use that in real-world settings? Let's dive into that next. 4. Implications of the findings. Clinical and therapeutic applications. From a mental health standpoint, this research is a game changer. Therapists can now design treatment plans that actively build resilience, not just reduce symptoms. For example, approaches like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, or DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, already help reshape thoughts and emotions. But by intentionally adding resilience training, clients may recover faster and feel more empowered. ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy, also fits perfectly here. It encourages people to accept what they can't control and commit to values-based action. That's a resilience skill right there. Imagine therapy not just as fixing something, but as strengthening your core so you can stand tall through the storms. Doesn't that feel more hopeful? Educational and developmental settings. Let's shift gears to schools and young people. Anxiety often starts early. So what if we helped kids build resilience before things get overwhelming? Teaching emotional intelligence, self-reflection, and healthy coping in classrooms could have lasting impact, not just for mental health, but also for academic success and friendships. Picture a world where students know how to calm their minds, process emotions, and ask for help. That's a real head start in life, don't you think? Occupational and organizational implications. Workplaces are another big area where anxiety shows up. High pressure, long hours, tight deadlines, we've all been there. But companies that invest in resilience training, like mindfulness programs or flexible work policies, can help employees thrive instead of burn out. And it's not just about stress reduction. When leaders role model emotional intelligence and adaptive thinking, the whole team benefits. Resilience becomes a shared value. What would your workday look like if resilience was part of the culture? Think about that for a moment. Policy-level recommendations. Finally, let's zoom out to the bigger picture. What if government policies supported resilience the same way they support physical health? Public programs could focus on building strong communities, offering mental health resources, and funding tools that teach resilience online. This could change lives, especially in underserved areas where access to care is limited. Because when resilience becomes part of our social fabric, everyone stands a better chance. Doesn't that sound like a future worth working toward? 5. Influencing factors, supporting and contradicting. Supportive factors. So, what helps resilience flourish? First, social support. People surrounded by caring relationships, whether family, friends, or even peer groups, reported faster anxiety recovery. Having someone to lean on really does make a difference. Past experience also plays a role. If someone has managed stress successfully before, they're more likely to feel confident navigating it again. That confidence builds resilience. And here's something unique: culture. In more collectivist societies, people often face anxiety with a sense of we instead of me. That shared emotional space can be healing in itself. Ever felt stronger just knowing someone's got your back? That's resilience at work. Contradictory or limiting factors. But it's not all straightforward. Some things get in the way. Long-term stress, like poverty, family conflict, or trauma, can wear down even the most resilient people. It's like trying to run on an empty tank. Stigma is another hurdle. In cultures where mental health is taboo, people might avoid seeking help, even if they have inner strength. That delay can slow recovery. And here's something surprising. People who seem very resilient at first might still struggle if they never take time to rest or recharge. That's called resilience depletion, and it's real. So while resilience is powerful, it's also delicate. It needs care and support to stay strong. What helps you refill your emotional tank? 6. Study limitations. Now, let's keep things honest. No study is perfect, and this one has a few limitations worth noting. The participants were mostly urban, educated, and middle income, so the findings might not reflect people in rural or marginalized communities, where life circumstances are very different. Also, because this was a snapshot in time, not a long-term study, we can't say for sure how resilience and anxiety change over months or years. And since the study relied on self-reports, there's always a chance people answered in ways they thought were expected. Plus, most participants came from similar cultural backgrounds, which might miss out on how different cultures express or build resilience. Still, the insights we've gained are valuable. They just need to be interpreted with those limits in mind. Have you ever noticed how your background shapes your own coping style? 7. Recommendations for future research. So where do we go from here? There's a lot of exciting ground to cover. Future studies could follow people over time to see how resilience grows or shifts. A longitudinal approach could answer some big questions. It would also help to look at resilience across different cultures. What works in one place might look different elsewhere, but still be just as effective. Combining surveys with interviews could give us both the data and the stories behind them. And let's not forget technology. Apps and digital platforms could be game changers in delivering resilience support, especially to those who can't access therapy. Lastly, bringing in brain scans or hormone testing could help match what people say they feel with what their bodies actually show. It's all about seeing the full picture. If you could design a resilience toolkit for the future, what would you include? 8th. Conclusion. At the end of the day, this study offers a refreshing and hopeful message. Resilience plays a key role in helping people recover from anxiety. And the best part? It's not something you're born with or without. It's a skill, a mix of mindset, behavior, and support that can be nurtured over time. Resilience helps us reframe our fears, regulate our emotions, and re-engage with life. And when we start seeing recovery not just as feeling less anxious, but as gaining strength and moving forward, everything changes. This perspective invites us to see healing as a journey, one we don't walk alone. So, let's support each other, build those internal muscles, and remember, with resilience, we're not just bouncing back. We're bouncing forward. So, what's one small thing you can do today to build your resilience? Let's take that first step together.